गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. So we are seeing how the seer and the seen, the knower and the known, the subject and the object, all of these are having no existence. They are cancelling each other. The real one is the one which is unchanging, the substratum. The real one is the one which is independent. The unreal one is the one which is dependent. The Triputi, the triad, the seer, seen, seeing, the hearer, heard, hearing, etc., they are all dependent upon the self or the substratum which is supporting them. And here the Jnaneshwar Maharaj says to give attention to that which is changing is not necessary. The more you give attention to that which is changing, that is the Triputi. What is another way of putting a word for Triputi? Thoughts. Don't give value to thoughts. Give value to substratum. Today's meditation was also that. Come to the substratum. Find out what is that in whose presence these thoughts are coming and going. And when we think thoughts, and these thoughts are of reality, sometimes we can mistake that, oh, I have come to know. No, it is not like that. Thought cannot make you come to know yourself. The only focus of attention should be on the pure consciousness because of which the Triputi or duality is expressed. That should be the only attention. What is this presence? What is this substratum? What is this unchanging principle? And it is always, it is not sometimes it is there, sometimes it is not. No. This unchanging principle is always. On its anvil, all the changes are coming and going. In fact, the drishya is none other than the drashta. Te drishya drishtati ahe ma davane ka sahe na davize tari nohe taya to kahi. The scene is established due to the seer, that is the drashta. How can the seer, drashta, be proved to exist by the seen, drishya? Even without the seen, the self continues to exist. Again, the same point. The seer and the seen. The seer has come about because of the seen. Seer can tell that this is the seen. But can the seen tell this is the seer? Can seen tell this is the seer? Because seen is an object. Object is that which is appearing due to conditionings. And any object will only come and go. It is temporary. Is the seer temporary? In essence, it is not temporary. Isn't it? Just like this object, seen object cannot illuminate the seer, but seer is the self itself. It is only taking that role. Can you remove the seer? Can you remove the knower? Can you remove because you are that, isn't it? You are the seer, you are the knower, you are the thinker, you are the experiencer. Can you remove yourself? but you are wrongly identifying with the scene and creating a personality, creating a role which you are giving a name because of that object called the seer. Because of that object, you are calling yourself a hearer. Because of that object, you are calling of yourself a experiencer. Without the seer, the scene cannot exist. It is a daily experience that without an authority who has seen an object or an incident, we do not accept the existence of the drishya padartha, the scene. Without being aware of it, there is an unconscious acceptance that the drishya borrows its existence from the drashta or the seer. Means that every experienced or seen object is borrowing his existence from the seer, because if seer is not there, who will recognize it? Who will call the scene as a scene? Who will call this carpet as a carpet? Who will call this camera as a camera? Who will call this world as a world if the seer of the world is not there? The scene gets validation only because of the seer. This is an unaccepted fact. This is an accepted fact. Therefore, where is the question that the drashta, that is the seer, is indicated by the drishya? Where has it been told that the scene can illuminate the seer? Has anywhere it come till now? In your experience also, has any object ever illuminated the conscious principle, the seer? No, isn't it? Then think a little bit more. Then how can the thoughts illuminate the self? Point is this, that you are illuminating the thoughts, but you are thinking thoughts in the mind and wanting them to illuminate the self. It is not going to be possible. Or on the other hand, the drishya draws its existence from the drashta, the seer. Because I am alive, respiration is possible. Therefore, the presence of the drishya pradat, which is the scene or triputi, is not required to establish that there is a drashta, the seer. Meaning, you don't need thoughts to prove that you are alive. In deep sleep, we don't have thoughts, but we are still alive. So when he gives the example that because there is breath, so I am alive, no. Breath is because I am. Thoughts are because I am. I am is the substratum, the I is the substratum, and the thoughts come and go. The breath comes and goes. Because I can think, therefore I am, that is the wrong conclusion. Because breath is going, therefore I am living, that is the wrong conclusion. So the teacher is saying, revert your thinking. That by thinking, you cannot come to know yourself. Be the one in whose presence the thinking is taking place. The thoughts are coming and going. And if they don't come, you still are. In meditation, certain moments come that way, that there are no thoughts and you're still there. The term triputi, that is the triad, can be understood in two ways. One, when the limits of the triputi, it consists of the seer, seen, seeing, seen, seer and seeing. And the second point, going one step further, the entire experience is the triputi for the substratum. The entire experience is the triputi for the substratum, the Paramatma Tattva. On the substratum of the pure consciousness, the Triputi is manifesting. The substratum is independent. It is because of this substratum, the supreme drashta, that is the supreme seer, that everything is illumined. Just like water is the substratum and waves are the are appearing and disappearing. Similarly, on the substratum of the self, of the substratum of the supreme seer, the substratum of the supreme knower, all the thoughts of, or all the triputis of seer, seen, seeing, hearer, heard, hearing, knower, known, knowing, experiencer, experienced, experiencing, all these are coming and going. Every thought is made up of something. Either when you are looking at me, you are the seer. When your attention is on the sound, you are the hearer. When your attention is on the feeling, then you are the feeler. When your attention is on the experience, then you are the experiencer. So some are is always happening at the level of the mind. Don't take yourself to be that. It is therefore not necessary to prove that there is the Jagat, the Jiva and the Ishvara in order to establish the existence of the substratum. Many places it is told that in order to know the self can be known only when the doubt with regards to Jiv Jagat Ishwar, their relationship thereof has been resolved. But here we are going one step further, and that is whether Ishvara is there or not, the self continues to be. Whether Jeev is there, individual is there or not, the self continues to be. The substratum is continuing. And whether the world is there or not, it does not matter. The self continues because it is the unchanging principle. We don't need these three to prove that the self exists. It follows that when the attention is on the substratum supporting the tree of experiencer, experienced and experience, the approach will be entirely different than if one were to think disproportionately of the experiencer or the object of experience or the experience itself. This is what the Mundaka Upanishad says. When one's experiences are analyzed and re-evaluated, one is bound to develop dispassion towards the worldly things, towards all efforts to achieve. Then one will know that the truth is not the result of any action, but indeed all the actions are possible because of the substratum which is ever present. No amount of, if earth, water, fire, air, no amount of their efforts to know the space, their cause, their substratum, no amount of it can make them come to know that. Space is infinitely more than air, fire, water, earth put together, isn't it? In fact, space is accommodating these four. Space, in the space these four are existing, isn't it? The space is existing in and through all these four. Because of these four, the space is not existing, right? Because of these four, space is not existing. Space is existing independently. In it, all these four are coming and are getting validity. Similarly, the body, the breath, the mind, the intellect, thoughts, the triputi, they cannot come to know the substratum. Substratum is all that there is. Yesterday also one person, when we are exactly the same thought was going on in Bhagavad. Problems come in our life only when we forget the Lord. And when we remember the Lord, the problems are there or not there. We are not available to them. Why? Because our mind is totally absorbed in the Lord. It is not that the problems will stop coming. So the point was, our mind must be continuously focused on the self or the Lord, and to that extent, the problems of the world we will be immune of. Then one person asked the question, but don't we have to put a goal in our life? Don't we have to put efforts in our life? And this person has asked this question many times before also. It's like an old record going again and again in the same track. Because they don't want to come out of it. Exactly the same way. Here also. No amount of effort, where do you put effort, tell me? You put effort at the level of body, you put effort at the level of speech, you put effort at the level of mind, right? Another way of putting it is, self-effort is put in four fields: dharma, artha, kama and moksha. You put efforts to be righteous, you put efforts to accrue wealth, you put efforts to satisfy desires, and you put efforts for realization, isn't it? But through efforts, realization is not possible. Through efforts, self will not be revealed. Then why do we put efforts? Because we are addicted to it. Because we are addicted to it. Efforts are only in the mind. Efforts are not in the self. When it is told the self became many, self-desired, that I want to experience myself, so as if it became, it is effortless. Do you put any efforts to become the mother or the daughter or the wife? Do you put any efforts, or it automatically expresses? See? So no amount of action, no amount of efforts is ever going to reveal the substratum, because substratum, in the presence of substratum, all the efforts at manasa, vacha, kaya are possible. Relative existence cannot create any form of reaction in the substratum. The ocean will neither hold birthday parties for each wave born, nor hold condolence ceremony for each wave that dies. It is because of this I that so many wakers, dreamers, and deep sleepers have come and gone, but this I remains one without a second. See how simple it is and how clear it is. Just like the water does not celebrate the birthdays and death days of the wave, do you celebrate the birthdays and death days of the thoughts? Oh, this thought has gone away. Oh. One moment you are the seer, one moment you are the experiencer, one moment you are the knower, one moment you are the feeler. Do you celebrate being the feeler? And then do you celebrate not cry because the feeler has gone or the thinker has gone? No. Because nobody takes themselves to be the changing. Everyone somewhere deep inside knows that they are the unchanging principle. Nobody knows, nobody feels that from the, the from child till now, have we experienced our absence? No. Have we experienced change? No. We feel we are continuous. Then, because of our wrong identification, all the problems come. When we say, oh, because people don't understand that they are the self, it's not a question of understanding, even though they are the self, but because their attention is on the body, oh, I have become old. Because their attention is on the breath, oh, I have asthma. Because their attention is on the mind, so I am becoming forgetful, I am getting dementia, I am getting. Because their attention is on the mind, sometimes I am the waker, sometimes I am the dreamer, and sometimes I am the sleeper. But nobody has ever said I am not. Nobody has ever said I am not. I don't know where I have gone. No. Even those people who say that I don't know where I have gone, they are talking about their mind. I don't know where my mind has gone. I think I'm losing myself. I'm saying I'm going cuckoo. They are talking about the mind, they are not talking about the self. This principle of the independence of the substratum from the superimposed, from the relative existence, is explained through a few examples. आरिसा पाहला राहे तरी मुखची वाया जाये ना तेणे वीण आहे आपण पेची. Even if the face does not see itself in the mirror, it continues to exist even without the mirror. Self-explanatory. The face, even if the mirror is not there, the face continues to exist. Even if the thoughts are not there, the self continues to exist. You don't need to see a reflection in the mirror to prove that you have a face. Right? Similarly, you don't need to have a reflection called the thoughts. Thoughts are nothing but reflections. You don't need a thought in order to prove that you are. How beautiful. When the mirror is in front, it reflects the face, but the face does not owe its existence to the mirror. If the mirror is removed and the reflection is gone, has the face been lost? Shall we say, poor face, what will happen to it now that the reflection is removed? Poverty is dependence, richness is independence. The face is not dependent on the reflection for its existence. The reflection has no value because reflection is merely existing in its own absence. It's just an appearance. In the same way, whether the experience is of joy or misery or indifference, whatever plane of consciousness it refers to, all are meaningless as far as the substratum is concerned. The pure self exists independent of everything. It is present in the presence of waking and dream planes of consciousness. It is present even in the absence, that is the deep sleep plane of consciousness. That which gives existence to absence can never be disturbed by the presence or by its relative opponent, the absence. So, this pure self is the independent principle. What is an independent principle? independent principle is that principle which is not dependent on anything else for its existence. It is existing in its own right. It requires no support. It requires no crutches. See? And what is that which is dependent, which requires the support, which requires the crutches, which requires acceptance, without which the dependent thing cannot exist independently. And what are they? Everything other than the pure self. Let it be the waker, dreamer, deep sleeper, whether it be the world, whether it be the body, breath, mind, intellect, whether it be the thoughts, emotions, whether it be the seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, everything is dependent on what? On the pure self. These things are coming and going, therefore they are dependent. The pure self is not coming and going, it is always. See? This substratum or pure consciousness functions through every Triputi without undergoing any gain or loss. What I told you before, the substratum, the pure self, just like water is pervading every wave inside, in and through the wave is nothing but water. But we call it a wave. Similarly, this pure consciousness, this pure self alone is completely permeating every thought, every Triputi. What is the Triputi? Seer, seen, seeing, hearer, heard, hearing. This is completely pervaded by the pure self, the substratum. So from pure self point of view, there is no gain if a Triputi has been born, and there is no loss if the Triputi has gone away, because it is ever complete. Just like the waters have no gain in the appearance of a wave, and there is no loss for the waters in the when the wave dies away. That is why when one realizes one's own essential nature, there is no justification for pride or arrogance. The dawn of wisdom is never again, it always is. The Paramatma always is, whether one meditates or not. It is not a thing to be acquired. I want a realization. I want self-realization, as if the self has vanished away somewhere. Self has not gone anywhere. No, but I am not experiencing, because you are approaching it in the wrong way. Instead of searching, be the self rather than search for the self. See? Otherwise, all other paths are teaching us, do the pranayam, do the yoga, do the contemplation, do this, do that, do that. No amount of doing is going to reveal the self to you. Then how is the self going to reveal? By being the self. By accepting that you are that unchanging principle. Accepting. Accepting doesn't require thought. You have to just be. So when we are studying in this manner, even while studying, you have to take that position. You have to be that. The dawn of wisdom is never again, it always is. It is not that before you were ignorant and now you have become wise. You have always been the self. You have always been the self. It is not because of any studies or any sadhanas that the self has revealed now. No. It is not that the sun has risen. and it was absent before. Every morning that illusion comes that there is a sunrise, isn't it? Oh, so nice, the sun has risen. I don't know where the sun has gone. Sun has not gone anywhere, sun is there only. Even when you did not see it, the sun was there. Right? Similarly, here also. The teacher is saying, you have never been ignorant. You are the illuminator of absence and you are illuminator of the present, what is present, manifestation and unmanifestation. Take that position. Otherwise, now the self will be revealed. Means if it was absent before, that is what it means. That it was not revealed before, now it will be revealed. But our experience, if I shouldn't even say experience, but our being is that which is never absent. It is ever. All these thoughts of it is not revealed, I am ignorant, all these are illumined by this self only, isn't it? Be that, rather than getting identified with some concepts in our mind that I am not realized now and one day I will be realized. This is the direct method by which Jnaneshwar Maharaj is telling us, reclaim, be. Not by any action, etc., the truth is created. By renunciation alone, renunciation of distorted perceptions of relative existence, is it attained. Na karmana, na prajaya, dhanena, tyage naike amritatvamanasu. Na karmana, not by actions, na prajaya, dhanena, not by progeny, not by wealth, can the truth be revealed. Tyage naike amritattva manashu, only by cultivating dispassion towards the world, meaning start giving zero value to the world. How can I do that? It is so difficult to give zero value to the world, to the nears and dears, to the beautiful house that I have built, to my car, to my body, I love cherishing the memories of my children, of my family, of my childhood, etc. How can I give it all up? It is so dear to me. These questions automatically arise in the mind, isn't it? Do you mean to say I have to give up doing all sadhana? Yes. Should I give up reading books? Yes. How can I give up? I enjoy. See? How can I give up all my relatives? How can I give up my body? But sir, every day you are doing it. When we say it, you take a stand, why it is so difficult. But when you do it, that time you don't say anything, these thoughts don't come, this defensive mechanism is not there. No, I have never given up. No, every night when you go to sleep, you give up your family, you give up your relations, you give up your memories, you give up your aspirations, you give up your doubts, you give up your body, breath, mind, intellect, everything is given up. Otherwise sleep will not come. And do you give up? Don't you give up? We do give up, isn't it? Or they drop us, whichever way you put it. So life is giving us an experience on a daily basis without our wanting it also. That really speaking, why do we go to sleep? because we feel completely in bliss. We are absolutely at rest in sleep. And whatever you may do during the day, however busy you are, however successful you are, however a great aspirant you are, a seeker you are, but when sleep comes, the whole world drops you. And when the scriptures say this to you, suddenly you take a defensive stand. But how can I give up? But you are giving up every day. See? Just because this became a topic of discussion, we start finding out how not to do it. Why it is difficult. Why dispassion? Oh my God, dispassion to the whole world. How that means there is no joy of living, then there is always, I'll be a zombie moving around. All these type of thoughts go through the mind. Then what is the point of living? That also thought comes. All this is created by us. You are already doing that. Now the original thought of ignorance is brought back. Jnaneshwar Maharaj, where is the question of Maya? This is how the topic began. Many verses, hundreds of verses before. 215 verses before. Where is the question of Maya? This whole chapter is about that there is nothing called ignorance. We have created this concept that there is ignorance. No, there is only the truth. There is only the pure self. Where is the question of waves? There is only water. Where is the question of sunrise and sunset? There is only the sun. Think. Where is the question of pots? There is only mud. You may call it pot. Who cares? But essentially it is mud. So if you know it is mud, then by breaking or making of a pot, you will not get disturbed. Isn't it? Your loss is the utility value of that mud, of that pot, which was nothing but the mud. So your loss is, your disturbance in your mind is your utility value of a particular role. Your role is a teacher. If no students come, what will a teacher do? Teacher is no more a teacher if no students. Utility value gone. Now what to do? Suffer. Mother's utility value is her son. Oh, what will I do? If the son is there, son is not there. Because that role called mother, which you have got added, that has come about as a result of the son, you have put so much importance and energy into it. But you are the self. You are not the mother. तैसे आत्मया ते आत्मया न दावीची पे माया पै माया तरी आत्मा वावो की वाया ते चिना की. Similarly, if the self cannot be known objectively, then who gets falsified, the self or the Maya? Naturally, it is Maya falsified. Falsified means who gets falsified, who gets removed, who is proved to be the wrong one. All these roles that we take, the seeker is the false one. And all these roles that we take, they are a result of, they are just mere appearances, they are a result of Maya. If because of Maya, ignorance, the self is not able to comprehend the self, then does it indicate that the self is meaningless or that Maya is meaningless? The self is independent existence. Whether one is able to see the self or not, the self exists. This topic came in Panchadashi also, the chapter that we are doing, the 13th chapter. Whether one is able to see the self or not, the self exists because it is beyond the relative experience of seeing or not seeing. One can use such language as I see or I do not see only when something is other than me. It cannot be applied when I talk about myself. When it is said that the Maya is covering one's essential nature and therefore one is not able to know the self, it has no meaning because even otherwise I cannot know myself because I cannot be the object of knowledge. I have to know myself, I have to know myself, I have to realize myself, I have to realize myself. I have to abide in myself. I have to accept myself. Not possible. Why?
It's a false one wanting to.
Exactly. Exactly. The wave is saying, I have to realize the water. Wave has to vanish. The moment wave vanishes, the desire to become one with the water also will vanish. Isn't it? The moment you go to sleep, the desire to sleep also vanishes. The moment you go into meditation, the desire to meditate also vanishes. Right or wrong? So be the self, then the need to realize the self will also vanish. Because no amount of wanting to be the self, wanting the self will ever reveal the self to you. You have to eventually come to accept that you are the one on whom all these changes are taking place. When it is said that Maya is covering one's essential nature and therefore one is not able to know the self, it has no meaning because even otherwise I cannot know myself because I cannot be the object of knowledge. The whole experience of the world is only as subject and object is the instrument of knowing. I am the subject, something is known that is the object, and the instrument can be the senses or the mind or the. Huh? But when it comes to the subject that I want to know I. I, which I already am, want to know through the medium of mind, through the medium of thoughts, through the medium of Triputi, this I. So, thought appears only when there is a subject and an object. Only then the thought will appear. These two are essential. Now, you are saying this subject wants to know the object and that object is the subject itself. It's like the eyes, they want to see the eyes. Not possible. Eyes can see everything other than the eyes, but the eyes cannot see themselves. Exactly the same problem. The I thought wants to know the I thought. Or wants to know the I, the self behind the thought. Not possible. So there is no realization possible. Why there is no realization possible?
Already
Wise man spoke. Because everyone is already realized. Then what is all this gimmick going on in the name of spirituality? If everyone is already realized, it is only the removal of the unreal. It is only the removal of the ephemeral. Getting the correct vision, that is required. See? Therefore, to say that because of Maya or ignorance, one is unable to know one's own essential nature is a wrong approach. So, to blame that ignorance is very strong, the Maya is, my God, the power of illusion is too much. You can't blame. Just as the presence or absence of the reflection cannot disprove the existence of the face, so also Maya can in no way reduce the glory of the self, which supports the very same Maya. Reflected light cannot know the nascent sunlight. The reflection cannot see the original face. The Triputi, which is considered to be the effect of Maya, which is dependent on the substratum, cannot comprehend the substratum. It only shows that the self is powerful and not Maya. Ignorance means Maya. So, Maya is not powerful. Oh, I cannot do this. You are giving importance to something. Have confidence. No, this illusion is also supported by me. Take that position. But what you are saying, because of this illusion, knowledge is not possible. Those people who continuously blame other people for their misery in life, it is like that. The seeker also does the same thing. I am not able to realize because of Maya, because that habit of blaming everyone else, not taking responsibility, is going on. Nobody can if you take the correct position within yourself. Because I cannot see my eyes, see, same example is coming now. Because I cannot see my eyes with my own eyes, it does not mean my eyes do not exist. So also, I, the Supreme Self, because of which this relativity and duality of knowledge versus ignorance is possible, cannot become the object of investigation by the Triputi. Ignorance or Maya should not therefore be given undue importance. Sri Bhagavan says, if the attention on the Supreme I, if the attention is on the Supreme I, where is the question of the spell of Maya? The moment your attention, we are not saying thought. If the attention is on the substratum, the Supreme Self, that very moment ignorance vanishes. The moment your attention is on the sleep, all the duality vanishes. Meaning the whole world vanishes for you. And that is only sleep. You don't even know what sleep is. And that is it is your experience every day. So when we bring our attention, our awareness to the self, that very moment the whole world drops us. And how long it takes? Like this it vanishes. A wave can never know the ocean, for the moment it dives deep, there will be knowledge called the ocean, but there will be no entity, that is wave, knowing the ocean. In the same way, the seeker who is seeking the sought, the meditator who is meditating on the absolute, will get totally merged in the absolute. From that point of view, no Triputi will ever touch this eye, no thought can ever touch this eye. Therefore, if we cannot comprehend the truth because of Maya, it does not mean that truth is not the reality. The inability of the instruments of knowledge to comprehend the truth has been stated by Krishna Bhagavan when he said, that which cannot become the object of knowledge of the eyes, the sun being the presiding deity of the eyes, hence, na bhasyate suryaha, that which cannot become the object of knowledge of the mind or of the speech, those whose sights are not trained on this truth, which is beyond the cognition of the Jnanendriyas, cross the threshold to the supreme abode. They take off from what is not to what is my supreme abode, and they never turn back. Meaning, you are not searching for this truth through the senses, through the mind. Why senses? If you are if you are trying to get a vision of the truth, if you are trying to hear, these things happen. But if you take that to be the truth, you are getting distracted into something else. It is not a feeling. It is not a because we have a divine fragrant smell from Satya Sai Baba and Vibhuti. It is so divine. No, that is not divine. It is only a manifestation. To take that Vibhuti to be the self is foolish. See, it comes to that point. But we all say, I am also carrying it. It's there in my pocket. I went to some place. Their Vibhuti is coming out because someone said, Swamiji, come, I'll take you there. Hey, let's go. In Cheltenham, some Sai center, the Vibhuti is coming out from the photograph. Okay, beautiful fragrance. We had a satsang on Vibhuti and we came back. But to take that Vibhuti to be the truth, I'm so blessed, oh beautiful, wonderful. Putting all your energy, all your attention, all your being into that Vibhuti. And then if you don't get the Vibhuti next time, and that person doesn't call you, no, life is meaningless without the Vibhuti. Eh? It is the self has manifested that to experience its own glory. The water has manifested as wave to experience its own glory. You have stood in front of the mirror to see the reflection and enjoy that. Arey, this is my glory. This is how I look. Fantastic. But if reflection is not there, to say that I am in depression because I can't see myself, that is wrong, isn't it? You are ever existing principle. Nothing can be taken away from you. The whole world as if appears on you. Don't get too much caught up in this world. The whole world is existing as thoughts in your mind. And the mind is nothing but the conscious, just like ocean is with the waves, the consciousness principle that you are, the substratum that you are, on the surface of this substratum is this mind full of thoughts, thought waves. And these thought waves are the world. The manifest thought is called the world. See? So take the correct position. Take the correct position. There the speech becomes absorbed and silent. The self being thus self-ascertained and self-existent, why should one take the help of any other authority to prove the self? Can one say that the rope cannot be seen because there is no snake? No. First, I must remove the snake, only then I will see the rope. Arey Baba, can't you see the rope? Yeah, I can see the rope. But where has the snake gone? Does this doubt come? It is like that. Continuously we are behaving in that inverted experience. You are the self and you are saying, no, I have to remove the ignorance. I don't know. I can't see it. You are that. What can you not see it? आपण पे दृष्टा न करिता असे पैठा आता जालाची दिठा का करावा. Therefore, even without being a seer, the Atma exists. What is the need for this Atma to be a seer of the self? I do not have to become a seer in order to convince myself that I am. The expression of the Triputi, the triad, is not needed to prove my existence. In the Turiya Avastha, in that absolute silence, there is full emptiness. That is the truth. where there is no truth of duality in spite of the experience of duality. This existence is independent of the trio. When we are sitting in meditation, there is no experience. Mind is absolutely empty. Yet you are. Yet you are. All the thoughts about it come after you come out of the meditation. But in the meditation, there are no thoughts. Why should one insist that the Atma Tattva should be proved? The truth is that because of which every authority has its existence is that truth. Not a single authority, including the Vedas, is able to define the truth perfectly. It is always the language of negation that is used, such as Nishkalam, Akriyam, Avyayam, Akarta, Abhokta, etc. Meaning, means negating. The truth is only defined by what is not neti neti. The truth cannot be said, this is the truth, because you are that. Nothing can prove. And we have the only language as the way of communication. So the scriptures are taken the language. The truth is not the world, the truth is not the body, the truth is not the breath, the truth is not the mind, the truth is not the intellect, the truth is not the thoughts, the truth is not the experienced, the truth is not the experiencer, the truth is not the Gaunatma, the truth is not the Mithyatma. And this way, truth is not that which is changing, truth is not that which is finite, truth is not that which is subjected and conditioned by time, truth is not that which is limited by time, space and objectivity, and so much is told. Barbara, then what is truth? You find out everything that comes to your, don't go searching, whatever pops up in your mind, see if that is, or whenever the mind pops up, mind itself is a conditioning, is a product of time, space and objectivity. So find out that which is unaffected by all these things that have been just now said, and you will find that there is, if you keep thinking, you will not come to any conclusion. But when scriptures say, you are that, Arey, yeah, I never changed. Everything else changed. Thoughts changed, but I am still the same. This is also you are knowing through the thoughts. But now the question is, who is this I? Don't ask, be. If you ask, again you will go on a merry-go-round. As Dhyaneshwar Maharaj himself has explained earlier, even the terms Satchidananda are not positive definitions of the truth. They are employed only to remove the negative understanding that the truth is non-existent or is other than I or is limited. Therefore, there is nothing in this world which can be considered as authority to establish the truth. Then how? Then is it there or is it not there? No, it is there because you are that. But suppose it is still argued, why should one insist on negating the Triputi? After all, it is because of the Triputi alone one is able to arrive at the substratum. What is wrong in that approach? Now this new thought will start. That what is the role of Triputi? That is, once we have understood this, that substratum doesn't need any illumination or support or anything. It is the illuminator of everything and supporter of everything. Then if the student is saying, there is no student here, but Jnaneshwar Maharaj is thinking loudly. But if it is said that by Triputi only we came to this understanding that we don't need anything. By thinking only we came to, by thoughts we came to this conclusion that I must be dispassionate. Dispassion is also a word. So, is the thinking not playing a role in our life? In our self-realization by coming to the threshold of the sanctum sanctorium of the self? Now that thought will be taken in our next class. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः